Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of News Dose, where I give you all of the latest gaming news. And one big talking point heading into the next generation of consoles has been all about those solid-state drives and the amount of time it takes to load games. As we all know, Sony invested a lot into their own customized solid-state drive for the PlayStation 5. And of course it's supposed to be crazy fast, but what about the Xbox Series X? Well, we got an example today that shows how insanely fast the Xbox Series X is as well when it comes to load times, so we're going to take a look at that. Also, we got some new details for Bethesda's upcoming game to talk about. No, we still don't have a definitive answer on exclusivity, but if you're anxious to know what Starfield is, stick around for that as well. First though, let's go over some of the quick news, starting off with Into the Eternal. So Into the Eternal is a Kickstarter game that I thought some people might be interested in. We've seen a lot of games inspired by the Zelda franchise, but not typically Zelda 2. Yeah, Zelda 2 is not really a fan favorite with its side-scrolling mechanics, and it's often viewed as a bit of a departure from the Zelda franchise. Well, Into the Eternal is actually trying to take that formula and use what worked, and then try to improve on some of the things that fans often complained about. That really is the thing though. Zelda 2 may not typically be a fan favorite, but a lot of people believe it's an underappreciated gem, and those right there are the people who I think might be interested in Into the Eternal. It's got a more realistic style to it, but a similar playstyle. It only needs $5,000 for a successful campaign, so I thought I would at least talk about it because it's really going under the radar right now, so I'll leave a link to that campaign in the description below. Also, we got some Dragon Quest news, as the creator Yuji Horii is teasing all sorts of announcements for the Dragon Quest franchise during its 35th anniversary in 2021. Now, what exactly could they announce is up for debate. I know fans are immediately going to think about Dragon Quest 12, but not long ago they did say that game is a ways away. With that said, they could still reveal it as it's been in pre-production since 2019, so I wouldn't completely rule out a small tease, but I wouldn't expect a large reveal is all I'm saying. They're also working on Dragon Quest The Adventures of Dai, and we'll probably hear a lot about that next year. Based off what he's saying though, we should expect a lot more Dragon Quest related announcements, and he actually specifically mentioned the world of Astoltia, which is from Dragon Quest X. So maybe we see something Dragon Quest X related, and honestly, if we're going to go back to some of these older Dragon Quest games, I would like to see them bring over some of the classics to the Nintendo Switch. I think that's a fantastic console to play some of these older games on, and I would be up to play something like Dragon Quest V on the Switch. Just kind of throwing that out there. Dragon Quest has been growing worldwide as 11 sold 6 million units, and I think if some of these older classics were more readily available outside of mobile phones, fans might be pretty happy with that. Either way, it looks like Dragon Quest is going to have a big year in 2021, but it looks like the fun is really starting right now. See, Dragon Quest XI-S is coming to the PC, Xbox, PlayStation 4, and Xbox Game Pass on December 4th. But if you don't want to wait until then, they just released a massive demo on all storefronts. Your progress will carry over, and it has about 10 hours worth of content, which is a pretty big demo. Granted, Dragon Quest XI is about 56 hours long for just the main campaign, so there still is going to be plenty to play once it officially releases. Nonetheless, that is something for you to do, and Dragon Quest XI is one of the best JRPGs made in recent times, so I would highly recommend it. Moving on, Activision posted a very successful financial report, but one specific category significantly rose for them. So check this out, they made $1.2 billion on microtransactions in just 3 months. That is a 70% increase year over year, as they made $709 million last year in the same time frame. This really goes to show you why these big publishers push microtransactions so heavily, and Call of Duty Warzone was a big win for them. It is a free-to-play game, and this is how they monetize it, and it worked well for them. Clearly, a lot of people must buy these microtransactions, and it's why you can do this type of thing in free-to-play games. I think the problem that many gamers have is when they're paired with these big AAA games that cost $60, and that's the thing. Game prices do seem to be increasing to $70 for next generation games, and when you see how much money some of these companies are making off of microtransactions, you can see how that could upset some fans. We're being told that game prices are increasing because they cost more to make, which is true, but when it's paired with microtransactions, that's often a bit controversial. Regardless, you can definitely see how much money can be made off of these microtransactions, and that's exactly why we're seeing so many games include them. On to our next topic though. Hades released a little over a month ago, and really since this game launched, fans absolutely fell in love with this game. It really has become one of the best games for the entire year, and even if it's a smaller independent game, it stands toe-to-toe with some of the best. Not only has reviewers been raving about it, and it's actually the 4th best rated game on the Nintendo Switch with a 93 overall score. Yeah, it's a good game, but it looks like that's translating to a lot of success as it was the #1 most downloaded game in Europe on the Nintendo eShop in the month of October. That means it beat out games like Mario 3D All-Stars, which just released, Pikmin 3, Minecraft, Animal Crossing, and Mario Kart 8. Yeah, that's incredibly impressive for a small independent game like this, but it's also more than deserving. If you haven't played this game yet, I do highly encourage you to check this game out. Either way, big congrats to Supergiant Games on their success with Hades. Let's talk about Starfield though, Bethesda's first new IP in decades. Of course, they are behind games like Skyrim and Fallout, so there's a ton of hype around Starfield, which is actually kind of fun to think about. Not many games can do this, but Starfield is probably one of the most anticipated games for next generation, and really we've only seen a logo and some old leaked images. It just goes to show you the respect gamers and RPG fans have for Bethesda, as they've made some of the all-time greats within the RPG genre. Well, we did get some new details on Starfield from Todd Howard himself, and some of this is very exciting. Starfield will be an only single-player game. That is their primary focus, and it will not have multiplayer, so you don't have to worry about any tacked-on addition. This is much more in line with what you have come to expect from Bethesda games, but only it sounds much more ambitious than even Skyrim or Fallout 4. Yeah, it's about 4 to 5 times as many developers working on it than they did Fallout 4 or Skyrim. They also did a major overhaul to the creation engine, which apparently will be a bigger jump in improvement than what we saw with Morrowind to Oblivion. Now that sounds extremely impressive, and it includes things like animations, rendering, artificial intelligence, and more. So we are going to see a much better looking game than what we have seen from them in the past. But one staple to Bethesda games is in how much fun it is to explore their big open worlds. I mean, they've always been fascinating to explore, not only because of the landscapes, but also all of the quests that you can do, and you can just absolutely get lost in some of these games. How they're making it though is rather interesting, and this is something that I think confused some people at first. There is some procedural generation techniques being used in both The Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield, but this does not mean the world is procedurally generated when you boot up the game. This isn't like No Man's Sky or Minecraft. Your world will be exactly the same as everybody else's world, so you don't need to worry about that. It's just something that they use to help create the worlds that they're making, and maybe help do certain things quicker. They probably used it for large landscapes, and then maybe put their own touch on it with things like cities, landmarks, and other things. Now, one thing that's really exciting though, is they seem to be focusing more on the cities and NPCs this time. The cities will be more expansive and large compared to their past games. Yeah, Starfield sounds like a huge game on paper and very ambitious. The big question though, is when should you expect this game to be available? Well, he is saying it's going to be a while, and it's subject to be delayed, so he isn't giving any specifics. But as somebody pointed out on Reddit, they did say the same thing about Fallout 4 a year before release. So you can't completely rule out the possibility of a 2021 release, but if I were to guess, I would probably say 2022. Now, like I said, we still haven't gotten a definitive answer for exclusivity on Starfield, so that will be a big topic next year when we do get that information. But it once again has been confirmed to be a Day 1 Xbox Game Pass title, which is a huge deal on its own. Xbox Game Pass stays winning with massive games like this launching Day 1 into the service. Starfield though sounds really good on paper, and now I just want to see this game for myself. Hopefully we get something soon on that, but let me know if you're excited about Starfield in the comments below. Now, speaking of Xbox, let's talk about some load times. This has been a big topic for next generation consoles, especially with the PlayStation 5, but we have seen several examples of dramatically improved load times on the Xbox Series X as well. You have to keep in mind that the Series X solid-state drive is blazingly fast too, and it really shows with The Witcher 3. There's a YouTuber by the name of Ruben925 that was playing The Witcher 3 on the Series X, and when fast traveling, it was so fast that there was no load screen whatsoever. It's almost like it just glitches you there. It looks kinda weird, but it goes to show you how fast load times have become, and that's the thing. This is without the optimized version of The Witcher 3. It is getting a Series X enhanced version, but this is just the game we all know and love played through backwards compatibility. Once again, Xbox backwards compatibility is just amazing, but maybe with the Series X enhanced version, they can make that fast travel just a little less glitchy looking. But I love that we're going to save so much time by not constantly having to look at load screens, and it'll be interesting to see how developers use these blazingly fast solid-state drives in the future. I'm sure some developers will get a little creative with this, but for now, we're already seeing some real-life examples of just how much faster games will load compared to last generation, and that's exciting all on its own. I've said this in the past, but we are seeing this time and time again. Both consoles are powerful, and both are fast. Yes, the Series X is the more powerful console, and the PlayStation 5 has a faster solid-state drive, but both are still fast and both are still powerful, and I think fans have plenty to be excited for as we start to play these games ourselves next week once these consoles are in our own homes. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to hit the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.